Then the second malach sounded, and something like a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea. So this could be speaking of a what they would call again meteorite or something like that falling from the heavens, but during the day. That's why it will look huge like a mountain. But during the day, unlike the following trumpet, which seems to be speaking about something similar, but during the night, because of the way that John explains it. But first, let's finish with this. So the second angel sounded, and something like a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea. So a huge star or meteorite will fall, burning in fire during the day somewhere into the sea. And a third of the sea became blood. This connects to the first plague of the 10 in Egypt when the water turned to blood. So that also shows that the two witnesses will be preaching during this time even. The chosen few will be on earth, yet like Israel when they were in Egypt, they were in Goshen. And everything that happened to Egypt didn't happen to those in Goshen. So those who are in Mashiach spiritually are in Goshen. So we must be confident and trust Yahweh and his protection. So, and a third of the trees were burned up and all the trees. Oh no, I already read that. Then the second angel sounded, and something like a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea. And a third of the sea became blood. Once again, the third. During the seals, a fourth was destroyed. Let me go to Ephesians. Ephesians 6:12 says, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood." So we shouldn't fight with people. We shouldn't war with people. And I mean that in the sense of we shouldn't go to war and kill people because of one's beliefs. And one shouldn't fight with somebody because of your beliefs. Everybody was given free will to do whatever they want. So we must accept what they may want to do, not force them, for Yahweh doesn't force us. So we must be willing to bring those that want to come to the Father to him, but also know that not everybody wants to. So we shouldn't force anybody like some try to, and I know it's done because of love, but we need to give time. We need to pray to the Father for him to reveal himself to them and all of that. So we shouldn't fight with people because of something of the spirit. Yet we also should remember that whatever is making them fight with us, whatever is making them like make fun of us or call us crazy or hate us because of what we believe, whatever it may be, that is happening because they are being influenced by spirits. Because many times it's somebody that supposedly loves you, a family member, something like that. So that shows that there is something spiritual happening that is influencing that person in order to hate you for something that makes no sense really. But that is because our fight is not against flesh and blood. So, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. So there are 4 categories of entities with whom we are at war. 4 different entities. Samael fell before man was made. That's why earth was empty and in chaos, void, and well, there are several translations to that, tohu vabohu, which we see in Genesis 1. So Samael fell. That would be one of the 4. Then we have 3. And as we know, Lucifer falls with a third of the angels. So we have Lucifer falling with a third. And then we have 2 left. And as I have said, Azazel is a third Satan, which falls with the rest that is left. As we saw in this during the seals of Revelation, on the fourth seal, a fourth of the population is killed through war, hunger, the beast of the earth, etc. So by the fourth seal, a fourth of humanity has been killed. By the sixth seal, by the sixth trumpet, a third of humanity has been killed. So during the seals, a fourth of humanity, then of what is left during the trumpets, a third of humanity. So that means that Yahweh is judging several parts of humanity according to what they have been worshiping. What set of angels, what set of rulers of darkness, spiritual hosts, powers of principalities have they been worshiping? So according to that, they will be judged, and they will die during that time, in which a fourth of those who fell with Samael are being judged. A third of those who fell with Lucifer will be judged. That is, the fourth during the seals, the third during the trumpets, and then the last plagues during the last 3.5 years. So that's why we see now in the trumpets that a third of the trees is burned up, a third of the sea turns to blood. Then we're going to see a third of the rivers, a third of the luminaries is darkened. So a third during the trumpets, that is connected to Lucifer, who fell with a third of the angels. Hope that's clear. During the seals, a fourth is judged because of a fourth of the entities created by Elohim at the beginning, which fell before the falling of Lucifer, before the falling of Adam. So going back to Revelation 8, verse 8, then the second Malach sounded, and something like a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea. A mountain represents a kingdom. So this represents that a kingdom is falling from the heavens to the earth. So it is pretty much an announcement that Lucifer and his kingdom will soon fall. It's interesting that this is the second angel sounding the trumpet. Right after, there was an angel who threw fire that was on the incense, on the censer with incense on it. He put fire on it and threw it to the earth on Yom Kippur, which represents what will happen after a year from this moment, in which the two witnesses will be killed by fire that would come from heaven. And after that, days later, Lucifer will fall with a third of the angels from his kingdom. And that is interesting because we just saw here a connection with all of that. Even a great mountain, like a great kingdom, falling from the heavens, burning with fire, was thrown into the sea, and a third of the sea became blood. Like I said, connected to the plague in Egypt, representing the sin of people, the shedding of innocent blood now being judged. And a third of the living creatures in the sea died. And a third of the living creatures in the sea died. The sea represents the nations. In this case, this is literal. Like I already said, the sea as the nations that we see in Revelation 7. Here, this is talking about literal sea. And a third of the living creatures in the sea died. And a third of the ships were destroyed.